All right, welcome into Prize Picks on 5 on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at 5 Reasons Sports. I got David Eversole. Follow me at David W. Eversole, David Friedman, somewhere in the darkness because his picks are so good. He's in witness protection from Prize Picks. You can follow him at Taco About Sports. We might see Eric Wadicki in here at some point too. But before we do, I'm going to mention what I forgot to mention the last time. Use the damn code 5, F-I-V-E. Get that initial deposit matched up to $100. You got to use the code to get the money. It's free money. And again, you don't have to put down 100, but they're only going to do that bonus for you once. So you might want to do it the first time, but minimum of 10 is fine if that's what you want to do, anywhere up to $100. So let's get to it. The Dolphins, we got Wadicki coming in here. Oh, and he's gone. We got the Dolphins playing the Titans tonight at the stadium. I'm actually heading down there right now. The Dolphins, of course, are 9-3. The Titans are cooked. But Derrick Henry is going to play. There was a bit of a question about that. The Miami Dolphins tonight have a fairly full roster. Robert Hunt, a couple of others who are out, but for the most part, the roster is full. Let's get to it. Tua, bit of a disagreement on this one. Eversole, you told me that you think that you're looking at him under tonight. Is that correct?
I went under. The number is pretty high at 291.5. I just feel like game script might take this number down. And you see it's dropping. It dropped down to 286.5. I would still be tempted to play that under, but I actually played it under at 291.5. I'd be curious to see the second half numbers when they come out. But I feel like if Miami gets up in this game, they're going to lean on the running game in the second half and try to keep some of these guys fresh for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully the game goes that way. But I feel like Tua, even in his bigger games, even against like Carolina and Washington, he was under the 291. He hit some big plays, but that's a pretty tall mountain to climb. And you see the numbers kind of agree with me as you had a 5-yard drop there from 291 to 286.
Freeman, you play him over or under tonight and where?
Same thing. I'm staying away, but I guess if I had to go one way or the other, I'd probably go under. And it's not because I think he's not good or anything, right? I think they're playing differently. I think they're running the ball a lot more. I'll get to my other picks in a second, but I kind of am going in the direction of like the fact that Mike McDaniel is actually kicking some field goals and taking points and things that he hasn't been doing previously. So I would go under if you put a Nerf gun to my head.
Yeah, he's acting like a regular coach lately. Eric Wadicki, thanks for joining us. David Eversole drops off briefly. I feel like this is like a line change. Wadicki, would you play Tua over or under tonight or not at all?
I'm probably not touching it at all because I know he can go off for, way more than 286.5. But he hasn't done it much lately. I'm just uncomfortable with it.
I'm uncomfortable with your internet connection, but we're going to hang with it. Wadicki says he's staying away from it. Freeman staying away from it. Eversole going under. I would probably go under as well. All right, before Eversole pops back in here, Friedman, you mentioned you're going with a little bit more of the running game plays tonight. You like Mostert? You like the Rook? Who do you like?
I'll stay away from the other one because I know someone else has the pick. But I like Mostert on attempts. I think he's at, again, 11.5. And the only reason I did not hit on that last week was because they didn't have to use him anymore. I think he ended at 11 and they didn't use him in the second half. So I think he hits that pretty easily. But if I had to go quarterback or running back, that's where I would go.
Eric, you like a running back play for the Dolphins tonight?
Yes, I'm going to go with, and it's going to be pass rush or receiving touchdowns, Devon Achane, or HN over a half. I mean, at this point, if you can get Devon Achane scoring prop on him, you're doing pretty well. He's just going to score just about everything.
All right, he's going over on Achane, half a touchdown. Eversole, would you play the Dolphins running backs tonight?
I'm probably going to stay away from him just because of the carry split now with the second week with Achane back in the mix. You're looking at pretty much a 50-50 split. So it really comes down to who makes the bigger plays in their opportunities. And it's just kind of hard to predict because both these guys are explosive. They both score touchdowns. They're both just really putting up great numbers. So I kind of stayed away from them. I did look at Jalen Waddle on the receiving targets just to kind of pivot to the receivers a little bit. I think he's going to get the work. It's blustery out there in these conditions tonight in South Florida. I hope the Titans can handle these winter conditions out there. But in all seriousness, I think that Tua is going to look for Waddle a lot in this game as well as Tyreek Hill. So I lean towards Waddle just on the targets at 7.5. I stayed away from all the running backs.
And look, he's been over that 4 of the last 5, so Tua is starting to look to him a little bit more often. Friedman, which receiver would you play, if any?
I don't like. I would stay away from the Tua thing. I don't like the Titans' defense is pretty decent. I think they're middle of the pack in terms of like points getting up, and I think, like I said, I'll just go with my pick now. I actually went with Jason Sanders, which I don't know if that's safe or not, but I went over 1.5 field goals. So I'm kind of staying with the idea that the offense is going to do their thing, just not to the level of, 60, 70 points. So
as long as he's kicking field goals, they're inside 45, they'll be okay. Wadicki, what else do you like on the Dolphins board beyond the quarterbacks and running backs?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go crazy. Give me the Tyreek Hill yards.
Okay.
This is a Tennessee team that is 27th in the league, 22nd in the league defensively against the pass. Tyreek Hill, 100 yards every game. I think he goes over 2,000.
Remember when we used to be able to get that for 60? Remember when we used to be able to get that for 65 yards?
112. That's outrageous.
Now it's 112.5.
That's why I went with the combo. I like the combo with D-Hop, actually. I mean, he's the alpha dog. He's going to get 10 targets in this game, I feel like.
Yeah, but I don't know. If they're throwing at Jalen Ramsey, he's not getting anything. I don't know. I don't know that I would touch that.
He's going to get something. He's not going to be shut out of the game. He's going to get 60, 70 yards, I feel like.
All right, well, that's a good pivot before we close here. Everybody, give me your best Titans pick. You got one. Friedman, go.
Nick Folk over 5.5 kicking points because
kicking. You love kickers. Wadicki, your number one Titans pick.
DeAndre Hopkins receptions if they've got it on board.
Okay, that's fair. Eversol?
Oh, I mean, I know Derrick Henry's a little banged up, but he's only at 66.5 rushing and receiving yards combined.
I'd play that.
I like that. I like the number 2 receiver with the Titans, Nick Westbrook, and kind at 20.5 yards. So if he does get clamped down, Hopkins, obviously, they're going to be looking at that second option. So he's at just 20.5 yards.
I mean, whether Derrick Henry is like concussed or not, what else do they have? Somebody's got to do something for Freeman to get all those field goals. All right, use that code 5, FIVE. Thanks again to Eric Wadicki. Follow Eric Wadicki. We've got David Freeman, Talk About Sports, David Eversole, David W. Eversole. Use the code 5, okay? Enjoy the game, everybody. I'm playing the Henry stuff over. Okay, have a good night.